All right, so we're diving deep today into prepping for a Footwear Cad Patternmaker interview. We've got all those RoleCatcher resources right here, ready to go.
It's exciting stuff.
It is exciting.
Footwear design really blends artistry and that technical side. And this role, the CAD pattern maker, is right where those two meet.
Yeah, you're taking that vision, turning it into, those really precise digital patterns. And
Yeah.
I think that's where RoleCatcher's insights are so helpful. They're saying, you got to be proficient with your CAD tools,
Mm.
even specific modules like nesting, and then, of course, understanding pattern grading.
Pattern grading, yeah, you've got to know how to do that. It's amazing how the technology's come along.
Totally.
We're not just dealing with those flat patterns anymore. 3D modeling that's becoming so central to how footwear is designed these days.
Okay, so let's jump right into these interview questions. I know RoleCatcher gave us a bunch to get started with. That first one's pretty straightforward. What experience do you have in footwear pattern making?
Yeah, you want to be honest there. But it's not just listing, jobs or courses you've taken. It's showing them that genuine passion for footwear.
Right. How do you do that?
Yeah.
Like, what if someone hasn't been a pattern maker for years?
Think about what drew you to footwear in the first place. What gets you excited about design? Did you take apart shoes when you were a kid? Did you sketch designs as soon as you could hold a pencil? Bring those personal touches into your answer. Even personal projects, those count. Relevant coursework that can show initiative.
Yeah, you want to show them it's not just a job, it's that interest. Okay, next question. How do you ensure accuracy in your pattern making? This one feels like it's really the core of the role.
It is. It's foundational. Here, you're showing how meticulous you can be. Talk about your process, measuring, double-checking, using those tools to get everything just right.
RoleCatcher mentioned something about nesting modules. What are those exactly?
So imagine you're trying to cut out cookies. You're going to arrange those cutters on your dough to use as little as possible, right?
Yeah, to reduce weight.
Yeah, nesting modules, they do the same thing with your pattern pieces. They optimize the placement, so you're minimizing that material waste.
Oh, that's a good way to think about it. So it's accuracy, but it's also efficiency and sustainability. Speaking of staying up to date, here's question 3. How do you keep up with the latest trends and technologies in footwear pattern making?
This is where you get to geek out a bit. Don't just say you read industry magazines. Mention specific publications, blogs, influencers you follow. Maybe you went to a conference recently or a webinar sparked your interest.
It's about showing that initiative, not just keeping up, but actively searching out that new knowledge.
Right. And if you're part of a professional organization, mention that. Shows commitment to the craft.
Speaking of staying current,
Yeah.
RoleCatcher's AI can really help with this whole process, right? You can scan those job descriptions and suggest skills to emphasize in your answers.
It's like having a personalized research assistant. Let's say this company's really pushing sustainability. RoleCatcher's AI might say, okay, highlight your experience with those nesting modules, or talk about your knowledge of eco-friendly materials.
It's tailoring those responses to what this employer is looking for. That's pretty smart. Okay, question 4. How do you collaborate with design teams to create footwear patterns that meet their vision and goals? It sounds like a balancing act.
It is. You've got to show you get the designer's vision, but you also bring in all those practical pattern-making considerations, cost, materials, production timelines, all of it.
I know RoleCatcher's Career Guide talks about this a lot. It's like pattern makers are that bridge between creative vision and actually making it happen.
Exactly. And a great way to answer this is tell a story. Think about a time you collaborated really well. Maybe there was a tough challenge you overcame, and you got a great result.
Stories are so powerful. They bring those experiences to life. Okay, question 5. How do you ensure that the patterns you create are suitable for mass production? It seems like that's going beyond just making one accurate pattern for one shoe.
Yeah, it's about scalability. You're thinking how that pattern will translate to hundreds, maybe thousands of pairs, and they all have to be consistent.
So what are some things to consider there?
Ease of assembly consistency across different sizes, minimizing potential errors, that's huge. You might mention specific techniques you use or experience working with factories on those large production runs.
It's like you're not just designing a pattern, but a whole process.
Exactly, and don't forget quality control. You can talk about how you ensure those patterns meet the highest standards even when you're making so many.
Okay, question 6 is all about problem solving. How do you troubleshoot issues that arise during the pattern making process? Everyone loves a good problem solver, so this is where you shine.
It is, but instead of saying you're good at fixing things, explain how you approach it. Do you have a checklist? Do you prioritize issues based on how serious they are? Share a little story that shows you can adapt and you're willing to find those solutions.
Yeah, and show that you learned from those challenges.
Right. It's not about pretending to be perfect. It's about highlighting how you analyze those problems, learn from mistakes, and come up with creative solutions.
Question 7 digs even deeper into problem solving. Can you describe a time when you had to make a significant change to a pattern to meet production requirements? This feels like a great place to use that STAR method.
It is. Think of a specific situation where you had to adapt a pattern, maybe because of production limitations, or materials weren't available, or maybe even a last-minute design change came up. Walk them through how you thought about it, the steps you took, and how it worked out in the end.
I know RoleCatcher's AI can help you practice those STAR answers and get feedback too.
It's a great tool. It analyzes what you say and points out areas to improve, even gives you delivery tips.
Like having a virtual interview coach right there. Okay, let's move on to question 8. Can you describe your experience with 3D modeling software for pattern making? We were talking about 3D modeling earlier, and it seems like it's only getting more important.
Oh, absolutely. Be upfront and enthusiastic about any experience you have. Mention the specific software you're good with, maybe even projects where you use 3D modeling to get a particular result.
It's also a chance to show you're adaptable and eager to learn those new technologies. Last one, question 9, it's about leadership. Can you describe a time when you had to train or mentor junior pattern makers? It's more than just technical skills here, isn't it?
It is. You're showing your communication, mentorship, leadership.
So how do you answer this one well?
Think of a time you guided a junior pattern maker. Maybe they were struggling with a software or a tricky pattern. You explained it, showed them the steps, gave them feedback.
So you're skilled, but also a good mentor.
Right. And for the result, focus on how they progressed. Did they master that software? Did their skills get better? Did they become a valuable part of the team?
And you'd mention what you learned, too.
Exactly. It's about showing you're a team player and a leader. And this brings us to something really important about RoleCatcher.
Their AI magic.
Yeah, their AI tools go beyond just individual questions. They help you create a whole story across your application, your CV, your cover letter, your interview answers. It all showcases your unique skills and experience.
It's like having a branding expert working behind the scenes to make you stand out.
And the best part? You can focus on what you do best, designing awesome shoes.
We've covered so much in part 1, all those key questions. The STAR method. Even how RoleCatcher's AI can give you that extra boost. But we're just getting started.
In part 2, we'll go even deeper into crafting those answers, using the STAR method to bring your experiences to life, and leveraging RoleCatcher's AI to create an application that really wows them. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to our deep dive. We're prepping for that Footwear Cad Patternmaker interview.
We've talked about all those important questions. Now it's time to get tactical and craft those amazing answers. You want to really engage the interviewer, not just give them a list of facts.
And that's where storytelling comes in, right? I know RoleCatcher's Career Guide talks about that a lot.
Exactly. The STAR method can take your answers to the next level.
Okay, for anyone who's not familiar, remind us, how does that STAR method work?
It stands for Situation, Task, Action, Result. You start by setting the scene, describing a specific situation where you use the skill they're asking about. Then you explain the task. What were you trying to accomplish?
Okay, so you're giving them context.
Right. Then comes the, actually, this is where you shine. What did you do to complete that task or solve that problem? Be specific, show your skills, your thought process.
And then the grand finale, the result.
Yes. What was the impact of what you did? What did you learn? Quantify those results whenever you can. Did you save the company money, improve efficiency, exceed expectations?
Okay, that makes sense. But how does this actually work with these Footwear Cad Patternmaker questions?
Let's look at question 7.
Okay.
Can you describe a time when you had to make a significant change to a pattern to meet production requirements?
Okay, that one seems perfect for the STAR method.
It is. So let's say the situation is a pattern you designed turned out to be too complex for mass production.
Oh, the pressure's on.
Right. The task is clear. You have to simplify that pattern without messing up the design or the fit of the shoe.
What did you do?
This is where you get into those specifics. You show those problem-solving skills. Maybe you talk to the production engineers to understand their limitations. Maybe you looked at different construction methods or materials. You might have even used 3D modeling to test out different options.
So you're not just saying you're a problem solver, you're showing it.
Exactly, and then you wrap it up with the result.
Yeah.
How did your revised pattern streamline production, reduce costs, minimize waste. Maybe you even learned a new technique or got a better understanding of production along the way.
Problem solved and lessons learned.
Exactly. And this is where RoleCatcher's AI comes in. They have this practice tool where you can answer sample questions using the STAR method, and their AI gives you feedback.
It helps you refine those answers, right?
Yeah. It analyzes what you're saying and helps you make sure your answers are clear, concise, and impactful.
Okay, let's do another one where the STAR method really helps. How about question 9? Can you describe a time when you had to train or mentor junior pattern makers?
Perfect example here. The situation might be a new hire struggling with some CAD software or a pattern making technique.
So your task is to guide them, help them succeed.
Right. Your actions might be showing them the software, giving them step-by-step instructions, creating practice exercises, giving them feedback on their work.
You're not just skilled, but also a patient mentor.
And for the result, you focus on their progress. Did they learn the software? Did their pattern making skills improve? Did they become a valuable part of the team?
You'd also mention what you learned from the experience.
It's all about showing you can be a great team member and leader.
Now, what about RoleCatcher's CV and cover letter builder?
Yes, it's not just filling in blanks. Their AI actually looks at the job description and suggests skills and experiences to highlight.
So you're not just listing everything you've ever done. You're showing them the most relevant parts.
And the AI helps you phrase things in a way that employers like.
It's like having a professional writer on your team.
But remember, the AI is a tool. It's not replacing you.
Right. It's about using AI to enhance what you already bring to the table.
Before we finish part 2, let's do a few bonus tips for acing that interview.
Love bonus tips. What do you have?
Research the company, understand their brand, their target market, what kind of designs they do.
It shows you're genuinely interested in them.
Second, have some questions ready to ask the interviewer, shows you're curious.
What kind of questions should you ask?
Ask about the company's plans, their approach to innovation, the challenges of the role. You can even ask about their own experience in the industry.
Oh, I like that last one.
And lastly, be confident, be enthusiastic, let your passion for footwear shine through.
All right, welcome back. We're wrapping up our deep dive into that Footwear Cad Patternmaker interview.
We've prepped those answers, practiced that STAR method, and even gotten your CV looking sharp thanks to RoleCatcher's AI.
So now let's talk about final impressions. The handshake,
Yeah.
eye contact, those things that go beyond the words.
Right, it's showing them that you're not just skilled, but someone they'd want to actually work with.
Someone positive, enthusiastic, a great
That's-
communicator.
Yeah, let your passion for footwear really come through, both in what you say and how you act.
So a genuine smile, a firm handshake, those things actually matter.
They do. Those nonverbal cues are important.
Okay, now let's talk about something that makes everyone a little nervous. Salary.
Yes.
The salary question.
It can be tough to navigate, but I know RoleCatcher has resources to help with this. So what's the first step? How do I even know what to ask for?
Do your research know what's typical for this role in your area?
Okay, so you're not going in blind.
Right, when it comes up, be confident, but not demanding. You could say, based on my experience and skills, I'm targeting a salary in the range of.
And what if they offer something lower than you expected?
Don't panic. That's where negotiation comes in.
How do I handle that without sounding, ungrateful or pushy?
You can say you're still excited about the role, but that the offer is a bit below what you were hoping for.
I see. So it's about advocating for yourself professionally.
Right. Highlight those key skills, those accomplishments that justify a higher salary.
And remember, salary is just one part of the package. You've got benefits, vacation time, even professional development opportunities.
Exactly. Think about what's important to you and be ready to talk about that too.
Okay, so the interview's over. You sent that thank you note. What happens now?
It's not just waiting around. RoleCatcher suggests taking some time to think about how the interview went.
Like a debrief.
Yeah, what went well? What could you have done better? It helps you get ready for future interviews and refine your approach.
So even if you don't get this job, it's all good experience.
Exactly, and keep learning, keep growing those skills.
That's where RoleCatcher's guides and modules are so helpful.
Absolutely. Footwear is always changing, so staying ahead is key.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the biggest thing for our listeners to remember?
You're not in this alone. You've got the knowledge, the strategies, even the AI power of RoleCatcher to help you.
You got the footwear industry needs talented, passionate people like you.
Let that enthusiasm show, and you'll be on your way to landing that dream job.
And who knows, maybe someday we'll see your designs out in the world. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We wish you all the best.